Alright, I'm doing this in one take because I don't feel like editing this or anything, and I just wanted to get this over with. Okay, I spent, like, God knows how long, like the past, 5, 6 months working on a big project. I'm playing in survival. I'm playing on a server, right? So I have friends that play on the server. They play in creative. I don't. I chose not to play in creative at all. In fact, there was only one instance of me going into creative, and that is why if I scroll down here, there has been a sign of me doing flying. That was for a separate project, but that involved me destroying a single block. I never grabbed any blocks out of creative. I never like placed any blocks in creative. The only thing I have done in creative was destroy a single end city portal frame, and that was for a separate project. But this project, this big project that took me like 6 months, um, this was all in survival. By far, this was the coolest thing I've ever done. Uh, yeah, I made Dodongo's Cavern in Minecraft Survival. Um, you'll quickly see that, yeah, there's bone blocks all over the ceilings, and it's arching, and there's the BMOS around, there's the Deku scrub, the business scrub over there, the chest, bombs over here. This is all vanilla Minecraft. This took me a very long time, and I'm very proud of what I did. Quickly grab the scaffolding that I left up there. I like the amount of detail I put into this because the amount of detail is a lot more accurate to the original game, especially with now how Minecraft is. So I can grab magma block, and the effect that magma block has is very similar to this area in Ocarina of Time. I added details like lanterns around the dungeon and torches on the block, and then having item frames with anvils in them to give it more of like a torch being attached to the wall kind of vibe, like a middle-aged like kind of vibe, you know? Um this way I made the scarecrow. I only have it in this room and not in the other room that's later in the dungeon. Um I should probably do that, but I'm gonna do that at a later time. I just feel really relieved right now because this took a very long time. These blocks are gonna be mostly gold sculptulas, but there's gonna be like 3 instances where it's not going to be gold sculptulas. Hello, skeleton. Anyway, um, here's this room. I don't know how I'm going to get bats to spawn in here, and I don't know how I'm gonna keep them in here. Probably gonna have like leads and have them all attached to this post. But here's another gold sculptula. And then out here, we have the 2 statues. And here's the button that you would have to push one of these onto to have this door stay open. And then probably the second biggest room of the dungeon, if not the biggest room of the dungeon. We'll go back up there later. Quick story about this room. This room used to be completely underwater. Like, this is directly under an ocean. I had to get rid of over, I want to say 200 blocks of water source blocks. Which, yeah, that took me a long time, because I had to do that with sponges, which are in my ender chest right now. Oh no, they're in my ocean chest. I'll go show that off in a moment, and I'll go show that off when we get to that part, because I'm sticking to survival here. Here's this room. I didn't remember if this was a business scrub room or not. I was going back and forth between looking in my 100% file of Ocarina of Time randomizer for reference of this dungeon, and I had no idea I had no memory of what this room was, so I just put 2 business scrubs in here. I can finally get rid of this crafting table here. This room, I want to say there are... Yeah, I think there is some watermelons to place around here, because there's bombs in this room. But I can't remember where they're placed. I'll be dealing with that after this one take. But it's like really cool to see how everything just works. Like, not everything is going to be 100% accurate, but like, it's good to like keep it as close as possible. And I had like, I even added like a few spins to it to just make it feel better. Here's this room. And here, I believe they're called Armos. I forgot if they're called Armos or not. I believe they're called Armos. And they're all guarding this chest. I think there's a gold sculpture up there. I can't remember. I'm thinking about replaying the game pretty soon, so I could get all that down. The Scarecrow's supposed to be up there. No, the Scarecrow doesn't belong up there. There's only one Scarecrow. It's right. I remember now. No Scarecrow up there, but there's a gold sculpture back there. Because that is supposed to be up when you come back through the dungeon, but you don't blow this up. You're supposed to jump down from up here. Here's a gold sculpture. I didn't have the white sculpture down here. I want these vines to grow, but it's gonna take a long time. But like, when they do, they'll like stop down here because there's string placed right here. Once all of these grow, if they even grow, it'll make this design 100% better. I can't wait to see if this works or not. Here's the next room. A lot of lighting, a very big figure at the top, and a whole lot of Armos, if I remember correctly. And here's the button. Door would open. Obviously I don't have like any contraptions to have doors open or close, because that adds a lot more time, and I don't know where I could place all of those contraptions, because I believe those contraptions would take a lot of space, and to make them all work vertically in a space like this, it would take a long time. Here's the next viewing angle of the dungeon. One of my favorites, because every day, after like I got to this point of the dungeon, I would just come up here, look down, and be like, I did a really good job. I got this far in only survival, and this took like this was probably closer to the 200-hour mark that I put into the dungeon. No, this was definitely closer to the 300-hour mark that I put into the dungeon. Up next, this room. I feel like I could have used a different material over cobblestone. Cobblestone was one of the easiest material, and two, the one material that kind of worked out in my favor. So I kind of stuck with that. There's no spike traps or like moving spike traps ideas that I could have used that I think that I could have used. But like I'm open for ideas there. I don't think I would be able to get them moving unless I went like I could have used a minecart or something. I think a minecart just going back and forth through here, maybe not being like deadly, but just a minecart going back and forth would be a good idea here. Here's 2 business scrubs. I remembered this one because of one of my more recent playthroughs of Ocarina of Time randomizer. In this room, it's noticeable that like there's a lot more carpet being used on the sides. That reasoning is that we're directly above that one Prismarine block room down below that would have like I want to say 2 Dodongos. and behind the door was the golden switch to open the door on the other side of the dungeon. Obviously, here is another bomb. We don't have anything in this chest. I think I'm going to... I believe it was a compass in here. I believe I'm going to place a compass in here later, because that would fit the aesthetic a lot. Like there are like minor stuff in decoration that isn't complete in this dungeon. Um, but like it feels really complete even without those minor details. Here's this room. Here's the first instance of a gold block appearing that isn't considered a gold sculpture. You know, this was like there would be fire right here. Oops, placing that back. There'd be fire right here, and you'd have to shoot that switch in order to turn off the fire. I had multiple ideas for the bones on the ceiling in this room, and I felt like just having them just be completely random, sticking through the walls in different shapes and forms, fit the best. Even though in the game it's more of like they're arching over and over and over again, leading to this room. Um, here's this part of the room that I was talking about earlier. I want to put like some kind of semblance of health here, but like I don't know how to do that. Like I could put like um maybe like a few glass blocks over there and have each of them have like an item frame with a map that has like a heart shape on it. Um I'm open for ideas over there. This is a part of the room that's a lot closer to the ocean. Um Basically anything below this block right here, the soul sand block, was completely unaffected by the water. Everything above that was underwater. And I had to deal with a whole lot of that. Like water was constantly seeping through the ceiling. I could physically not place any lava here, because if I did that, you know, water coming out of the ceiling flows down here, obsidian, 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 and that was the worst. I had to stop myself several times from placing lava, and every time I placed lava, I was like, oh, that's another water source block. Go grab the lava. This next room, another sign of a gold block not being a gold sculpture. You know, shoot that. And then there's this one. This is the third instance. It's I believe it was stand over here, shoot that switch, this one goes off. Stand right here, shoot that switch, this one goes off, and you just go across. I had an original idea, but I think this one was the Master Quest variant. Because if I remember correctly, you got bombs earlier in the dungeon, and you had to throw one right here, go all the way back, jump up, go across, shoot that one, go across, go across. But I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've played Master Quest. If I'm correct, this is the bomb chest. Obviously nothing in there yet because I'm not finished with like the very minor details. This has changed wording because it's supposed to say giant dead Dodongo. When it sees red, a new way to go will open, but that would require two signs, and I thought it would just look nicer if it was just one sign, so I put a new path will open, just so it like everything fit. Here's another bone structure that's a lot more hollow, so you can walk across. It's supposed to be smaller in the game, but I felt like if these were all even, it would look nicer, and just having the back of this one be hollow would fit very well. Which, in the end, it feels really nice being this way. Going across here, I believe this was a bomb refill. I think, yeah, you go across here. This is a bomb refill. Unless that was the compass. I don't remember. Um, drop bomb, drop bomb. Every single block up here, uh, this is concrete, and there's carpet on every single block. Just to avoid mobs from spawning up here. I would like it, like, it would be nice to have this dungeon have mob spawn, right? But, like, the issue that comes with that is, like, creepers, you know? Because if you get too close and, you know, you make a mistake, it's not you that's just taking damage, it's the rest of the dungeon that's taking damage. And, you know, that wouldn't fit the aesthetic, really, in my opinion. Going into the mouth, here's the next part of the dungeon. Already you see that this is another portal that leads to the boss room. But we'll go into there in just a moment. Another hallway with bone blocks with just different shapes and forms. And this room is like the one room that I felt was like the most fun to make, even though it's not the main room. The main room was probably definitively the best room to make in terms of enjoyability, but like this room was just a cute little project where I felt like I had the most fun, even if it was like the least amount of resources used in it. If I'm correct, this is another business scrub room. Um, I if you've already noticed, the walls in each of one of these rooms are all the exact same. Um, just for my time's sake, really. Like I was thinking, how why would I ever make each one of these rooms have different patterns on the walls when I can all make them all the same room because they all feel like the exact same room with a twist of something inside of it. Um, Another hallway. This is supposed to be a ramp. You've in there's no after the second Armos room, the one with the switch at the center, after climbing the ladder, that hallway leading to the main room again, had these jungle slabs here. I use these jungle slabs because there's no dirt slab in the game, right? Dirt slabs don't exist, and jungle planks, slabs come closest to what I want. So I use these, and they actually blended in really nicely, in my opinion. Um, I feel like if I used any other slab or any other ramp method, it wouldn't work out so nicely, and the slabs really came in handy. Um, I guess I have nothing else to show except for the boss room. So the trick here is that you look directly at the wall, and it feels like you're transitioning into the next room perfectly. Um, More bone blocks. Bone blocks were probably single-handedly the most blocks used in this dungeon, or not most blocks. Most, not most. The hardest block to get in the dungeon. The most blocked used was dirt, obviously. Um, yeah, this fall is very lethal, so I recommended getting feather falling boots to everyone who comes into the dungeon. This chest eventually is going to have a whole bunch of leather boots or iron boots or whatever with feather falling 4. It'll come in handy because of, you know, this fall, because this fall goes pretty far. Um, so eventually I'm going to use all 83 levels just to have feather falling 4 boots in here, and then we would come down here, right? And now we're in the boss room, and now here's here's where I came into an issue, because like it was either gonna be we would have this room be like so big, like way massive, and have like an actual life-sized version, or like life-sized as in Minecraft-sized version of King Dodongo, which would probably end up being as big as that, or like slightly, maybe slightly smaller, slightly smaller than the skull in the main room, but like still have that, like have that be its head, and then have the rest of its body, you know. Oh, I forgot to put watermelons in this room. Um, but it would retain that form, right? Um, it would retain that form and be like along one of these sides, and it would just be like standing, not rolling. There would be melons around the corners, symbolizing bombs when you run out of bombs. Um, and then all of the soul sand blocks here were going to be magma blocks, you know. So whenever you accidentally stepped off of the dirt path, you would take constant damage slowly. But then I thought it would look so much better to have, or not better. It would look nicer in a way that works with the dungeon, because it's supposed to be that the dungeon is already solved and King Dodongo has already been defeated. So I decided to make this a lot smaller and have the charred version of King Dodongo like right here. Um, Obviously, we can't make like that weird the blue portal to take you out of the dungeon. Um, I could probably put like a symbol somewhere, but I can't think of a good way of putting that there and being like, oh, you can step here and then you're out of the dungeon. Wow. So instead, just hiding in the mouth of the Dodongo, there's another portal leading out. Um, I really like how the chart design of this of King Dodongo works, just because it matches the completion of the dungeon so much better than having it standing in full form. Another reason why I couldn't have it standing in full form is because we're at Y13 of the dungeon, or we're at Y13 of the Nether, and having this room be any bigger to fit King Dodongo, we would have to go so much lower. This would have to be such a bigger, like a much bigger room. Uh, so this drop would have to go even further to the point where feather falling boots are more than required. Cause like this fall is survivable. If I remember, this is I want to say this is a 17 block fall. So you're taking 14 blocks of, you're taking 14 hearts of damage, or not hearts, 14 hits of damage. So you're losing 7 hearts. Um, Obviously there's gonna be like spawning, mobs here. Like I saw a magma cube spawn over here earlier, but I personally don't mind it. I mainly decided to have this in the Nether is because of it having a more like like a fire feeling. And here's another one of my friends online. Um, e, um, but everything worked out, and this was a very long process. Um, this took me just under 400 hours. Uh, and since like all of this was done, uh, in underground, plus the Nether being the ending, um, like we can check our items and see I've mined 205,000 blocks of stone. And I've used my pickaxes over 300,000 times. Like, this project took me a long time, and I'm so relieved in more ways than one that this project is over. Um, my methods of like getting the dimensions for every room, uh, I used like I opened up Ocarina of Time, 64 randomizer on my computer and would have that on my second monitor. And I here, let me find that YouTube channel real quick. Here we go. There's this very old video from 2012 by RedAshMason, um, where I used some of his modeling methods for some of the designs, and like I stemmed away from like trying to be exactly like his, especially for the big room. The big room, I wanted to do some of my own designs, and that's why there's like magma block. That's why the walls are bone block over wool. That's why the skull of the Dodongo is bone block and not wool. Um, and another thing is that this person used a modded version and probably made all of this in creative. Um, but like, yeah, I put all of this. I put all of the time I could into this dungeon in survival Minecraft. And I'm very, very proud of this accomplishment. But yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully my next big project, whenever I start it, ends up topping this magnum opus of mine. Alright, see ya.